Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to One Piece the Card Game. We're going to look over starter decks number 3 and 4. Number 3 is the 7 Warlords of the Sea, the blue colored deck. And number 4 is the Animal Kingdom Pirates, which is the purple deck. So if you want to check out the first two, you can check out that video, which has the Straw Hats and Worst Generation, the green and red sets. Or you can also check out, if you're not sure what this game is, there's a about 15 or so minute long video. I did kind of just explaining how the game is played and going through, so I don't have to re-explain it on each of these videos. Alright, so we're going to hop into this. So one thing I did mention in the first video, which I really like, is on the back. I'm not going to go over this too much. It does show all the different cards in the deck. I'll show it off again at the very end of the video. Where we look at the actual deck. We got a rule book here. Yeah, because they probably didn't need to make this deck so big. Yeah, but I like the fact that every card in here is the same. They're all starter deck cards. So we're going to get our deck of 10 Don cards. It's going to be the same for every set. So I'm going to end up having 40 of those. They're probably way more than what I need. But let's jump in and look at our Warlords. Alright, so we're going to have Crocodile here, of course. Other thing to pay attention to, we're going through, is I love the artwork. Because there's stuff from the manga, stuff from the, just drawings of the characters, the stuff from the TV series. So they utilize all these different artwork. I don't know how much of it's actually new. But that's definitely cool. I'm not going to rehash everything I said in the first video, because if you've already watched it, you don't want to hear me talk about it again. Alright, so we knew that what red and green do in that. Let's find out what blue does. Blue is all about what? So we have 7 Warlords of the Sea and Baroque's work. Of course, that makes sense. He also has 5 life. Active main once per turn. Gone -4. You may return the specific number of Don cards from the field to your Don deck. Return 1 character at the cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. Oh, so he's going to be a bouncing effect. That's kind of cool. Now, so that's something to kind of be interested in, is that he can return up to 4 cards. So every turn, you get to play 2 Don cards from your deck. So if you do this too early in the game, you're not going to, pretty much you're not going to have any mana or cost to do anything. But later in the game, when you have a bunch of cards played, this could actually be very powerful, because you could use it every 2 turns. So that's definitely cool. Alright, let's see what character Crocodile does. We have 2 copies of this one, the 6,000, costs 5, who's also 7 Warlords of the Sea, and Baroque's work, who has blocker, and Don 1 on block. Place 1 character at the cost of 2 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Ooh, so these guys are going to be all about removal. Get characters off the board. That is definitely fun. We have our 2 copies of our other super rare. Don Quixote, Go Flamingo, who is 7 Lords of the Sea, and the Don Quixote Pirates. On play, return 1 character at the cost of 7 or less to the owner's hand. Oh boy. I mean, it costs 7, but yeah, coming out, you can return something. We have 4 copies of Edward Weevil. He's one of the 7 Warlords. Otherwise, nothing extra super special there. 5,000 counter. We have 2 copies of Gecko Moria, who's also a 7 Warlords, also the Thriller Bark Pirates. On play, add 1 7 Warlords or Thriller Bark pirate character card. Type character at the cost of 4 or less other than Gecko from your trash to your hand. Interesting. So basically something gets defeated, he can bring it back. So I wonder if these guys are going to also have a way to remove your own cards. Like discard your own cards to pay for stuff. Which I said that, and then literally we just 2 copies of Dracula Millhawk, who's a 7 Warlords, who has Don 1 when attacking. Draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. So get 2 cards, discard 2 other ones, and then you could play Gecko here at some other point to bring one of those cards back from your trash, as long as it's a 7 Warlord or a Thriller. So far, everybody's been a 7 Warlord. We have 4 copies of Jinbi, who is also one of the Straw Hats. But in this set, he's not. So that's fun that they're not just always including him in everything. So we have Fishman, 7 Warlords, and the Sun Pirates. So of course he's going to be a Fishman because that's essentially like a race. But I like the fact that they include him with his other 2 pirate crews, and then in the Straw Hat deck, he's just a Straw Hat. That they can, move these characters around as they need, so they're not always part of everything. Well, this doesn't have anything too extra special going on. We have 2 copies of Sekomaru, who's part of the Navy. So Navy's always interesting to get more of those guys. Don 1, activate once per turn, pay 2. So the Don X1, of course, means you can only play if you have a Don on them, but you can pay 2, play 1 Pacifista with a cost of 4 or less from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So we're going to have to assume we have a Pacifista in here. Otherwise, this card's kind of just sitting around until we get one. But we'll find out. We have 4 copies of Trafalgar Law, who's a 7 Warlord and a Hearts Pirate, who has blockers. So every section you get in this 1 cost blocker, which costs 1,000, which isn't bad, because you can always boost him up very easily. I also like the fact that it's the second time we see him. He's also in the Worst Generation decks, so that's kind of cool. 4 copies of Bartholomew Kuma, 7 Warlords and Revolutionary Army. On play, with the top 3 cards of your deck and return them to the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So we had cards in here that let you return stuff. We had cards that let you draw and discard, so you kind of manipulate the hand that way. This lets you manipulate your deck. So it's kind of just all about manipulating the field. So you're not actually boosting your characters, or having them ready to go or anything like that. But you get kind of what do I need, when do I need it, or what do I need to get rid of. Alright, we have 4 copies of Buggy, who's also a 7 Warlord, and Buggy's Delivery, which is very interesting. Then we have 4 copies of the Pacifista, so biological weapon and Navy, so I'll work great with that other card. 4 copies of our next card, which is Boa Hancock, who's 7 Warlords and a Cruiser Pirate, who also has blocker and trigger to play this card from your hand. And then final characters, 2 copies of Marshal Detach, 7 Warlords and Blackbeard Pirates. On play, return 1 character with a cost of 3 or less to its owner's hand. So yeah, that's definitely some interesting effects. Let's look at our event cards. We have Sables, 4 copies of Sables from Crocodile. Return 1 character that costs us 7 or less to its owner's hand. Trigger, activate this main effect. We have 4 copies of Thrust Pad Cannon from Bartholomew Kuma, who has counter, return 1 character card with a 3 or less to its owner's hand, and trigger the counter effect. And then we have 2 copies of Love Love Mellow, which is from Boa Hancock, and your leader or one of your characters gains 4,000 power during this battle, then draw 1 card if you have 3 or less cards in your hand. So definitely some interesting stuff in the blue deck. You bounce characters back to their opponent's hand, which then makes you have to spend extra cards playing them. You get to kind of manipulate your deck a little bit with like drawing and discarding, or looking at the top of your cards, or playing other cards. So it's definitely some fun stuff that's kind of interesting. How each color, of course, is going to have their own different flavors. Also notably, we did not get a stage card in this either. So we did get a stage card with the Luffy set, or the Straw Hats, but that kind of makes sense because they're a full team of just Straw Hats. Although this is all the Warlords, they don't really have a singular base. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that, like, what effects you can do with that. Yeah, so there's all the different characters and their rarities. 17 different cards, which is pretty good. I think that's what they all have so far. Yeah, 17. Alright, so then let's take a look at our last starter deck. And looking over this is really making me excited to go try and find some of these cards to buy. Because I'd like to see what other versions of the characters there are. Like, are there, is there a Luffy in a different color? So you can play them with something else, things like that. So now we have purple, which is Animal Kingdom Pirates. Now, I haven't read very far into the manga or the anime. I've gotten through the Impel Down arc, and I know a little bit beyond that here and there. So I don't know who all these characters are. I kind of knew the Warlords were because I've read enough stuff with some of them. But I don't have any idea who the Animal Kingdom Pirates are, so this would be kind of fun for me to go through. So, of course, we have our 10 Don cards. And then we will see what purple does for us. So, now this is also cool to note, is that we have 4 color decks. We have 6 colors on the pie chart. We've only went through 4. So, I wonder if this is going to be very similar to, like, what Dragon Ball Z did, or Dragon Ball Super card game did, where they initially only had the 4 colors. Then, as the expansions came out, they added the 5th color of black. So, if maybe this is going to start with the 4 in the base game, and then expansions are going to slowly add the other 2 colors. Which, if I had to guess, would be yellow and I don't know what the other color would be. Because I'm basing it off the colors up at the top. So you have purple for special. You have blue, which we've seen, which are slash. Yellow or stripe. We don't have a yellow deck yet. Yeah, this one only has those 4 colors. But then we also have, I believe, red is ranged. In one of the other decks. And green is wisdom. So, we know that yellow is another color of an attack type that we haven't seen a deck for. So, I could definitely see there being a yellow card type. But that's the only other color we don't have. So, unless they're going to add, like, maybe, like, a black color. Or, maybe the last one's, like, rainbow color or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Alright, so here we have Kaido, one of the 4 Emperors and the Animal Kingdom Pirates. So he also has 5 health. So all 4 decks have 5 health. Oh, he's a yellow striker type. We're just talking about yellow. So they're strikers. Interesting. Alright. So we have Don -7. You may return up to 7 Don from your field, your deck. Trash one of your opponent's life cards. That is crazy. You only have 10 Don cards. So if you do that, you're really resetting, like, being able to play stuff. But being able to straight up just eliminate. That also means you have to be paying attention. If you're getting down to 1 life card or 2 life cards, that you're, they have all that out there. They can just return it and then boom, hit me. That's awesome. That's crazy powerful. We have 2 copies of the Kaido character card, who has 10,000, and he costs 9. So that's the biggest we've seen off of either of those. But he also has on play Don -5. Character gains rush for this turn, so you can attack right away. Also has tail one of your opponent's character cards with a cost of 6 or less. So that's really cool. So our purple is going to be all about using your Don, like returning it and then getting abilities that way. That's what it seems like so far. Alright, so then we have 2 super rares of King, who's also an Animal King Pirate, who has Don -1. KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So, yeah, that's kind of crazy. You're basically getting rid of your ability to play cards or boost your characters for the chance to permanently get rid of stuff, not just like bounce stuff. Like the blue we just looked over had the ability to like bounce things back to your opponent's hand by just paying a cost. This is basically sacrificing your resources, at least for a while, to permanently get rid of stuff. So we'll see what else we have with these guys. We have 4 copies of Yolki, who has 5,000 attack, and Don -1. Play 1 card, play 1 page 1 card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. We'll have to see what page 1 is. We have not seen that before. We have 2 copies of Queen, who has blocker and on play Don -1. Draw 2 cards and trash one from your hand. Interesting. 4 copies of Satsuki, who has on play Don -1. Draw 1 card. So now, yeah, these are all about returning it, but they're also on plays. So you have to do it when you play them, and then you don't get them. But now you can always, it just says from your field to your deck. So you can use 3 cards to pay for this guy, then return 1 of those 3 cards. Definitely. But yeah, you have, if they're the on-play effects, that means you have to opt to do it at that exact moment. You can't choose to do it later. So that's kind of the difference between some of these other ones where they're main effects. Like lots of the blue ones they can return. They're main effects, so you can use them whenever you wanted during a turn or multiple times. These are one time, and you have to choose to do it then. So interesting. We have 4 copies of Sheep's Herd, or Sheep's Head, Animal Kingdom Pirate, and Smile. So he's just kind of a generic character, but you definitely need those. To go with our king, we have a Jack, 2 copies of him. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand to add 1 card from your Don deck and set it as active. Oh, that's kind of fun too. Get rid of something else and you get them Don cards back. If you're getting rid of them quick, that's going to be super helpful. 4 copies of Jing Rummy, Animal King Pirate, and Smile. 2 copies of Who's Who. On play, Don -1. KO 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Trigger and play this card. 4 copies of Black Maria, which just has blocker. So we're not getting that 1 cost 1,000 blocker in this set, but we're getting a 2 cost 2,000. So a little bit better. Kind of, because you still have to pay more to get them. That's kind of different. You guys are a little bit more up on the power side. So we have, here's page 1 right here. So we have 4 copies of page 1. So kind of like the blue deck where we can summon the Pacifista, this one's going to let us summon a page 1 character. So now, that's not necessarily as powerful as something that lets you play one just from a regular crew, or a keyword type. You have to have a specific card. So hopefully, in the actual booster packs, they have a lot more of these different characters, or as expansions come out, so I'm not stuck only having to do this one page 1. Maybe they'll have a second different version you can get. And then we have 4 copies of X Drake, Navy, Drake's Pirates, Animal Kingdom Pirates. So another crossover character. Definitely cool there. All right. Then we're going to hop into our events. We have 2 copies of League Performer Disaster. So what's that? A couple of the different knight character or chess characters, I guess. Draw 1 card, then add 1 card from your Don deck and set it as active. Activate this main card effect. That's actually not bad. Definitely good there. We have 2 copies of Brachio Bomber. I don't know who this is. This is that Queen? My guess. So it looks like with the pants there. Must turn into a Brachiosaurus. Yeah, that mustache. You can see that. Yeah, definitely. Another card had. This one here had King, Queen, and Jack. So very interesting. Main, KO one of your opponent's characters at a cost of 6 or less, then add 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. Oh boy, so now, yeah, again, this works. You get KO a character, plus you get a set when you're Don. You can always use that to remove it to pay one of the other abilities. Add 1 Don from your Don deck and set it as active. Then we have 4 copies of Blast Breath. This is turning into a dragon. My guess is this is the main character. Kaido. My guess is he turns into a dragon. Yeah, that mustache. Yeah, you can tell. Your mustache tells everything, right? So we have counter Don -1. Your leader or one of your characters gains 4,000 power during this battle. So yeah, you have to keep paying for that stuff. But it's also 4 Emperors and Animal Kingdom. Then finally we have 4 copies of a stage. So this is the first stage card we've had since the deck 1. It says only Demisha's Island Animal Kingdom Pirates. So again, we have a full team because the red deck was Straw Hat Crew, was all Straw crew members for the most part. This one's all that. The other two, the blue and the green, were kind of like a mixed match of a bunch. They had some similarities, but they weren't like all the same crew always necessarily. So active main, you may rest this stage if your leader has the Animal King Pirates type. Add 1 Don card from your Don deck and rest it. So you don't get to use it right away, but that doesn't matter for paying for costs if you're discarding them. Then you just have to get rid of it. So that's definitely fun there. Alright, so that is deck number 4. There's our characters. Yeah, definitely cool. So yeah, between the 4 sets, a lot of different strategies, different things going on. It'll be very interesting to see what the booster packs bring to these. So I'll definitely have to try and pick up some of them as soon as I can find them. I just saw these in the store the other day, so I'm like, I have to grab these and check all these out because I like the DBZ and the DB's Dragon Ball Super and the Digimon card game, so I had to definitely check these out. Alright, so that's what we had for the One Piece sets 3 and 4. Check out 1 and 2 if you haven't. Check out the How to Play video. Check out all my other videos as well. If you really like these, let me know, and I will hopefully find some more stuff and go over these. See you guys later. Bye.